Hi guys, and this is a second tutorial on 3D code. Now the goal of this tutorial will be to introduce like a sculpting tools in general and maybe a sculpting workflow for a character development. Now this is just one of the ways to do it, so it's not the only way. So there are a lot of different ways that you can approach to a character sculpting, but this is just a kind of a basic tutorial and we want to actually kind of keep it simple. Okay, so you can start with this kind of character, so like it gives you a anatomy and very nice curvature and so on and so forth. However, maybe in a way we would like to start a character from scratch just for this occasion to actually introduce a basic sculpting techniques, sorry. And now I'll start with a blank project, and in a way, or maybe not the blank, I'll just start with a new one, and actually I'll choose this smallest sphere. Okay, so it has a very low poly count, and I'll just start with that. Now there are a lot of brushes here. Like if you take a look at this 3D code stuff, you will have like a lot of brushes. If you press space, now I already extracted some brushes that we might going to use in this process. Of all these tools, I actually want to focus just on these 5, like move, pinch, fill, muscle, and curves. Now I'll just show you, like you can do it like manually. So now all these brushes you can access from here. Now you can create a shortcut for your brush. Now you can see like here in the hint it says and to define hotkey. So when you press and press a hotkey, it will be assigned to a certain tool, which can significantly like speed up your workflow. But for this occasion, I'll just kind of use this kind of space, like space option, and I'll just want to add my favorite tools here to the quick access. So now for this occasion, I'll from adjustment menu, from adjust menu, I'll use a move tool, and now I'll use a fill tool, like from the voxel menu. So keep in mind there are 2 set of tools, like voxel tools and surface tools. So one of the tools will be taken from the surface menu, and the other one will be taken from the voxel menu. So I'll just press space one more time, and now from the voxel menu I'll choose a fill tool. Okay, sorry, actually change to a place number 2, and now from the surface tool I'll choose a pinch tool. So you have a pinch here, so don't mix that up. So from the surface tool I'll choose a pinch tool, and now I'll choose maybe a build tool as well, because we're going to need that one as well. And now I'll just go and choose a couple of more additional tools. So one will be a muscle tool, okay, and the other one will be curve tool. And this is pretty much maybe the way of the order of what we are going to use, how we're going to use this tool. And now we'll start with a move tool. Okay, now this is how your tool will start. And actually the tool, especially I think in newer edition of code, will have like this option voxelize immediately. What does it mean? Actually, now if I start to stretch this one, and actually starts to stretch even more, and maybe I would like to stretch it even further, you can see that my polygons can be constantly stretched. Let me try to use symmetry. So I'll just press S and choose the symmetry on X-axis. And I'll just scale the brush immediately. So let's say maybe we want to start a face here, okay? Now in this method, I will just try to mostly extrude the full character for one sphere. And now in this case, I will probably need a neck here. So now if you can see, if I try to move this further, sculpting for me will be most likely impossible in this way, because now I'm constantly stretching the fixed number of voxels or polygons that I have here. So for this occasion, I'll use this option, voxelize immediately. And by using this tool, I will actually going to actually extrude the neck, and actually it will be automatically re-voxelized. So now that I can actually, if I create some changes here or whatever, it will be remashed, so it will be repopulated by the voxels. Okay, so like so. I'll just switch to orthographic view, Shift Alt, and then 5 on the numeric keyboard. Now you can see I can proceed now to actually. Now one more thing, if I turn off voxelize immediately, now if I try to smooth, I won't be able to smooth. So the smooth option won't work. So if you also want to smooth after the move tool, then voxelize immediately option must be checked. Now you can see I can sculpt here, and actually, as you can see, I can actually try to pull up this, but it will kind of be hard to get there. So with the second option, I'll just kind of use a maybe build tool. And now if you can see, I'll just kind of click here, and it will add a volume also in the front side. So it will add, I can do a smoothing here. So it will add an extra volume here. Okay. So quite cool. And then I can just go back to a move tool and continue to build my character. Okay. Okay. So now you can see, very simple. I used just two tools. So I used just a move tool and a build tool so far. And now, as you can see, I pretty much got a good progress so far. So I'm using like this move tool actually to drag or to smooth or whatever, and to define the shapes a bit. Okay, so I need to focus maybe on this kind of spine curvature here. And maybe I'll just smooth it like this. And you can see this method is pretty simple, so we don't have to kind of deal with anything which is a rocket science here. I can just kind of deal with that to actually maybe kind of proceed. I'll just maybe redo that. So Control Y as actually redo option in 3D code. And actually now I can extend these arms pretty good. So there is always dilemma, what will you which approach you will take. Are you going to use a T pose or an A pose? However, I always prefer T. I think it's much more confident, better for rigging. Okay, so well, maybe I can add a bit of a build here. So I can add an additional volume here in certain areas. And so far, I'm doing like a pretty good so I can really play around with this. Okay, and we can tell I'm kind of getting somewhere. Now I'll just go to a build tool one more time, just maybe to add an extra volume here on this part of the body. Okay, and then I'll just switch to move tool. So maybe I can start to actually deal with the pelvis area. And considering to just kind of do the legs. So maybe something like this. Okay. I can maybe smooth a bit. And also I'm having a trouble with this head here. Now well, let's say it's a bit of a too large, so I'll just try to maybe smooth it and then kind of move its position. I'll shape it later. But now we are getting this kind of in a more natural way, and I'm also kind of having a problem with this body curvature, so I need to adjust this a bit better. To get like a bit of a more natural silhouette here. And I'm still using like this only one tool so far. Okay, now for the legs, now I can maybe change the approach, because it would be maybe too tedious to try to actually do the legs just by dragging. And for this, I'll use this curve tool. Like, it's pretty similar to a Z-sphere, so if you use the Z brush. So I'm just going to actually, before I start to do, I'll just kind of set up here this two hemisphere. And actually now I'll just try to actually position this to actually try to form the the legs. So maybe something like this, and okay, maybe I can just kind of apply this like so, or maybe not from this angle, so let's go orthographic, or maybe I'll just kind of extract the other one from here. Okay, and then maybe I'll just deal with that later. So I can maybe just apply this one like so, or even though I can click with the middle mouse button and then click to the scale, but I thought that I can scale like non-uniformly. Can I scale it from here? So scale, yeah. So now I can scale it also non-uniformly. Okay, so I can actually move this, but I can do this kind of later. Let's say I'm good with that, so I'll just apply this. So now I'll use a fill tool just to get around with this, guys, and actually maybe a bit of a smooth tool, whatever. And also now I can use a move tool just to shape these guys a bit better, but now I'm not going to go to deal with the details that much. And maybe I'll just do a, just let me see, a build tool here. Well, we'll deal about this with this later. Sorry. Now, okay. So let's say we're good with this, even though we're not. But actually now we have ability to do a, we can also do like a fill here, maybe a bit less. And now we kind of actually get to start with a whole body. Now, this is kind of pretty cool. Now, in this occasion, we can also start to build like maybe some basic anatomy landmarks. But before that, sorry, I'll just going here for the curves tools. Now you can see the tool is actually preserving the previous curve, so I can now actually delete the curve or clear all, and I can kind of create a new curve here. So now maybe I can start just to do a hand blocking. And in this occasion, I will actually just start to sorry, I'm in a scale tool, so I need to go to the extrude here. And maybe I'll drag the thumb from this part here. So I'm using a left click for this one. Okay, so now I can see I kind of block the palm, the hand. So also I'll just maybe go to scale to actually scale this non-uniformly, and then maybe to rotate. Okay. Well, and maybe also to, scale. So this is pretty much, let's say, okay, maybe at this level. Maybe we'll just kind of scale these guys up a bit and move them. Even though I can apply the pre-made hand, I'll show you maybe this technique later. Okay. Now the code starts to get buggy. Escape, undo, undo, undo. Now I'm really annoyed by this tool because now this is kind of sometimes of inconvenient stuff that you might encounter in code. Okay, and actually I really dislike this because in a way it's really kind of annoying, and sometimes it can completely ruin your work. Okay, now now with the middle mouse button you move, with the right mouse button you scale. Okay, and in this case I maybe want to like block this fingers maybe the best that I can in this stage, so that I don't have to use a sculpt tools or deform tools to do this. Okay. So let's say something like this maybe, and also something like this. So for some reasons code actually just kind of don't recognize what I'm kind of actually selecting from time to time. But actually, and sometimes you need an extra workaround for that, but so far it didn't turn out bad. So I can save this curve if I want to use it for later. Like I can just kind of say hand curve, okay, in a way where I maybe want to actually use it for later. So save like this. Sorry, hand, not habbed, hand. Okay, and now I can apply this. Now I can go for the fill tool now, and you can see it's not quite successful, but it's not that bad after all. So, and maybe in this case for the hand, I will need maybe to resample this, because now you can see I'm having like too few polygons. However, maybe I can rely on the move tool that actually is going to, but no. So I'll just kind of click here to add a bit of a more of a resolution here. And actually, no, I'll just try to play around with this. So I kind of block the hand. It's not like the best thing ever, but actually for this occasion, it will be quite enough. Let us try to maybe use a build tool to add some volume to the hand, or maybe to the fingers. And this will not work like that. So, okay. So I will need to do like an extra work. So what I can do, like I can do, like, let us use one more tool, like a cutoff tool, to cut off these hands. So cutoff, and by default I can just cut off the volume here. Okay, and now if we go to the curve tool, one more time, so I have it here. I can go now, and actually, since my curve is preserved, I can actually now redo the whole thing. So I mean, it's a good thing, because I didn't have to go from scratch. Now I made this setup once, and now I'll just try to reorder it now, and in this case maybe to make fingers a bit thicker. So something like this. Which is quite okay now, or maybe not, but it really also that matter, because now I can use a hand from elsewhere. Actually, there's one by default in the code settings. So now I can save this as well. So I will just save and say hand curve maybe 0.1. Okay, now okay, now I can apply this one to see if I'm kind of getting a better result. Okay, well, not that bad, not that better. but actually now maybe I can work with this. Okay, but if you're lazy, then I'll just go here for a cutoff tool. If you are lazy, then you can just go here for the models and like body parts and choose one of these kind of ear, foot or hand. Why not? Now if I zoom out, you can see that I'm having like a hand here. Okay, and now I can actually use this hand to actually place it on top of these, on top of my model, sorry. So like that. And if it will maybe kind of give me a better start than the one that I kind of did with a curve tool. I just need to resize this and maybe focus a bit on the proportion. And so far it's not that bad. Now I can just place it just a bit better, maybe resize it a bit further and actually blend it in here. So now I can see I can apply it. Now this is the question: do you want to make this your starting scale point? And now you can see I'm having like a hands here. So maybe they're not that good, but actually now I'll just kind of add a bit of a fill tool and maybe a smooth tool and then a move tool just to actually place this a bit better. So now I get like things to work with. Now if your smoothing is too strong now, here, because now I'm applying a smoothing like with a 100%, I can maybe go for a 30% and then the smoothing will be like much more controllable. Okay, so I'll just kind of place everything where I can see it. Okay, and now we just did like a basic character blocking. Okay, which is kind of quite cool. Now you can also navigate through these guys. Okay. Now the next thing that we can do is actually use a pinch tool. So by the pinch tool, now we can define like basic anatomy parts. So I can either kind of combine it with the move tool, so that I kind of maybe want to have some extra volume here for the chest muscles. Okay, like so. And then I can switch to a pinch tool and then try to shape these muscles. So maybe just kind of a tiny bit. Now I can invert tool by pressing a control here. Or maybe just do it like with a smaller brush. And now I can start to do like a basic anatomy blocking here to define these kind of shapes and volumes a bit better. a rib cage, and these are kind of abdominal muscles, and this is like a hip area. So I'll just kind of invert this tool as well. And maybe I can use smooth on top of that. But now you can see just a few tools which will kind of help me out. Now these are now I need to actually define these kind of back muscles as well. Sure about that. Maybe I will need to do like this kind of scapular thing now, a clavicular bone, something like this. Okay. Okay. So very basic, but now you can see it actually can work. Sorry. Now I don't have to be that detailed. I can most likely going to smooth this a bit because we don't want that to be that emphasized. But now you can see with a very few brushes. Now with the very few brushes, we're actually being able to set up like basic body for the blocking. Okay. Now here as well. Now the same applies to a face. So pinch tool. I can shape like this mandibular area, like jaw. So, and now with this kind of, you can see I'm struggling now with the poly count. So, in this stage, when we approach like the face and so on, we can maybe increase the poly count. Now, also for the eyes, we'll use a build tool, but inverted. So now I can see like these eye sockets we can do with this build tool, but also then afterwards, sorry, we can do the eyebrows as well. Okay, and also like the cheekbones. So maybe we can smooth this out and actually add some more tissue on the cheekbones. Okay. Now the head shape we can also modify a bit more with a move tool. And also maybe the potential nose. And also this curvature here. And so we start like to do a face blocking, very basic. Now we'll use a bit of a build tool just for a mouth creation. Okay. And also a move tool. Now we need to maybe redefine the shape of the mouth. And also maybe it will up-res this part of the face a bit. Okay, so I don't know, but I'm encountering this issue with a sticky brush in the coat, and they could, I don't know if it's my hardware, but actually on the other computers it happened as well, but they couldn't kind of being able to resolve this issue. I don't know why is that. So yeah, and then the best way is to start to use these tools for a while before you can actually approach this, or while this issue kind of starts to resolve afterwards. Now come on, 3D code, don't embarrass us. Okay, now I'll just try to change the tool, and now I'll use a pinch tool. Okay, maybe I'll just save this. Now it's working a bit better. Okay, so now as you noticed, I didn't actually save the scene from the beginning, and actually code has like a very good autosave, so I'll need to resample this after all. And now you can see I can start to shape this kind of facial area a bit more. So maybe not that much, but actually it's quite good as it is. Okay, nice. Just a tiny bit like so, and then maybe I'll inverse this just to kind of emphasize maybe this nose area, and also here just to kind of try to block the basic area for the nose. Now I most likely need to work a bit more on this, but this is just a like basic demonstration of how I can actually like do a blocking like with just a very few tools. Sorry. Just a very few tools, so only 5 brushes has been used so far. Actually, not all 5. We didn't use like a muscle brush here just yet. Okay. But that's important now that you can see that kind of you can approach this a bit better. So maybe I'll just use now a pinch tool from this like a new thing, because it works differently. So I need to make it like this corner of the mouth like a bit closer together. So maybe I can use like this type of voxel pinch tool. And now I can go and use a build tool one more time to maybe emphasize this part of the lips, and then a move tool maybe just to shape it a bit differently. But actually I'm not going to go that much in density. Now here we have like an issue. Now you can see if I go to resample here now, I already kind of move to like 2,000 polygons, 2 million polygons. Now let me make it like not 10 millions, but one less. Like let us make it smaller and resample it just to a million polygons. So we're not need to have like this level of precision just yet. So I just want to work like on basic level. And also we want to have our brushes like calculating a bit faster. Okay, let's try to invert like build tool for this, because I need to make this like a negative volume. Okay, maybe it was too much, but whatever. Now cool, maybe a bit of a more here, and then a smoothing, and then a bit of a more here. I want to just make this kind of maybe it's not anatomically correct, but I just want to show you something. Okay, now here and we can have like these muscles, and actually just maybe I'll use a fill tool here to try to kind of polish that out. Now there are these neck muscles like which are going from somewhere under the jaw till the clavicular bones, which are somewhere around here. Okay, like a clavicular bones. Maybe it is just like a bit of a bigger brush. So clavicular bones. Okay. And actually now I can use this muscle tool. So I also extract it here. And now this is what it does. Actually, it kind of tried to connect the certain area and just to give them a muscly look. Okay, so maybe I'll just try to even with a smaller brush. And sometimes it really depends how you actually drag this. So I get like this thing. If I kind of use a different maybe technique of modeling, I can also maybe say, okay, this will go like this, or maybe I'll need to go like from 2 muscles. Okay, like that maybe, or maybe even kind of like this. So, now it looks silly, but actually if I now use a fill tool, now you can see how it's going to blend these muscles nicely, even these holes here. I mean, it didn't create such a good job, so I'll just undo these guys. But here on these kind of fill tool, now here on these muscles actually done just pretty cool job. And then you can also add a smooth a bit. So it's a very nice tool sometimes. So if you can't control it like this, then there is a another option. For an example, now if you want to kind of add a bit more here on this chest, just let me try to actually go and add like a bit more here. I don't know, I didn't quite get the good blocking here, but actually we'll have like this deltoid here or something like that. Okay, now also it can help you, I mean, it can help you to this muscle tool to do like a other stuff. So now, for example, if you're not kind of satisfied how the muscle tool is actually placing itself on top of the geometry, you can always use a curves tool. Now, for example, if you want to do like a chest muscles here, now, okay, so it's a problem. Now I'm having a hand here, so I'll just kind of clear all. And now if I try to position now these chest muscles like so, I'm doing this by scrolling. I don't know, maybe even like this. So these chest muscles, and now I can create a new curve here. So new curve, and now I'm starting with a new set of muscles. Now, instead of using like a hemisphere here, I can use a muscle 1 or muscle 2. So muscle 1, and actually now it will work just like the muscle tool that we used, but actually it can shape this kind of guys a bit differently. So then you can see it's going to have like this and like a, I don't know, a muscle. And there is another thing that I might want to use as well. So I want to use a surface snap option. So I want it to be snapped to the surface. Okay. So in this case, now I'll just start to try to do it like again, and it should now snap to the surface here. Okay. And now if it starts to do a new muscle, okay, I need to go to a new curve and so on and so forth. So it's pretty straightforward. So I can just do a couple of these guys like so, and I'll create a new curve here. So I'll just do another one. Maybe I can play around with this also. Maybe this muscle will be kind of going here, so I can intersect those muscles. I can add one in between, so I can put it like to go wherever it should go. I mean, I'm not an anatomy expert, but this is just a hint for you how you can actually approach and how can use like a different tools in 3D code. And I'm also not sure like about quality of the result, but actually it's just an example. So how can you use like this tool? So maybe something like this, and then I'll just add like a part here. So maybe I just kind of make it like more complicated, but whatever. So now I can apply this, okay? As you can see, and as you might guessed already, now I can use a fill tool. and smooth tool just to blend these guys in. Okay, now I'm not quite satisfied with the result, but it's just a showcase. So you probably guess that you will need to kind of put more working hours in it, and to make work more precise. And you know, and most likely I will have like some of the anatomy reference book or proportions opened next to me, but it's not bad for this case. Also, you can use this muscle tool in a way to maybe create the ribs, these kind of ribs muscles. Maybe I need to make them thinner, and sometimes you need to find the right angle. But anyway, if you hate to do this, I'll just say clear all, and actually now you can actually really create the curve the way you want it. Sorry. So to keep the snap to surface on. So then a new curve, so maybe like this, this and this. A new curve. Okay. And then new curve. So I'll maybe make this one from here. And a new curve. I mean, muscles will go something like that. Don't kind of, I'm not really an anatomy expert, but actually I've been through a couple of books just to see how it works. And it's pretty much goes similar like this. So you can play around with it, set it up. Now you can also like save these curves like ribs, whatever, and you can also apply it. Then most likely we will go for a fill tool. I mean, it's not a great result, but it's just kind of a way to not show that I'm a great artist, but actually just to open mind, okay, so that you can see how you can use, how it's going to be, or what you can do with that. Okay, and now keep in mind like 5 brushes to rule them all. Even though we did most of the job where they move, pinch, fill, and build, like 4 brushes, and we use like a muscle and a curve brushes just as an additional helping tool. So and this is like one of the approaches. Now you can also start to like let me create a new file. You can use like a curves tool to actually, as for symmetry, to actually block the character from scratch. Okay, so then, and it's particularly nice if you want to do, like now in this case, maybe I'll just use a hemisphere instead of the muscle. Okay, but in this case you can see that you can block character really nicely, like even from this stage. Okay. Now we'll extrude like a body here, so maybe we can kind of increase this. I don't know, maybe we can kind of create a body here and shoulders. So, and you can see we can kind of use this to block character like very quickly. So you can really go for a, I don't know, a toony look or whatever. And to focus maybe on dynamic shape of the body. So maybe something like this. So let us go like this. And let's add one in between for the neck. And then we'll deal later on like with a sculpting a head, but it can give us like a decent start maybe. Okay, and then here, just like in previous case, we can just go and try to block the arm with the fingers, just very briefly. Let's say that we are going to create like a stylized character, so that I don't have like too much jobs on these kind of fingers, but let's say we'll have like a 4 fingers or whatever. Okay, nicely. So now we have like this kind of position here. And maybe we can drag this one and this one as well. So, and then we can just kind of see where it's going to lead us. Okay, so well, maybe something like this. Okay. Scale, and then maybe just like this, whatever. Now, and I can apply this, I can preserve this curve to kind of save it for later. And this is like a now I will just go for a fill tool, and actually now with the fill tool I can actually solve out this kind of bumpiness and everything else. And maybe something with the smooth tool as well, fill tool. And now we can kind of start to work this on this character. Now the fingers will be always like a problematic. Now I can kind of maybe use this one, and also just briefly to show you like a move tool. So it's kind of going to revoxelize everything, like when I kind of do this. And maybe to shape this a bit better. Okay, a fill here to fill these holes. Okay, now move. And now I can actually try to kind of, and actually maybe build, just to get a bit of a more here. Sorry, on the neck. On the this part. Well, nice. Okay. On this part here. So build tool. Okay, maybe on the chest a bit. Maybe just a tiny bit. And then move. So yeah, now it takes time. But now we can actually smooth it just a bit, and now we can work with the pinch tool to start to define the basic anatomy landmarks. So maybe for this stage I'll just kind of up-res the character, because I need maybe to have like a bit of a more precision here. Now to invert the tool, so that we can define these volumes nicely. So there are a couple of sorry, not with the control, but just regular tool. So there are a couple of options here how you can approach this. But you can see you can just start from a sphere. You can actually block the body. And then you can actually, sorry, I just need to go this. Okay, now build that as. Sorry, maybe just a tiny bit. Okay, nice. And also now maybe add a bit more about this rib cage area. So maybe like so. And then just pinch it. But now, as you can see, if you like hold long enough to make to the end of this tutorial, it can be pretty interesting. Sorry. Okay, and I mean you can get there like pretty fast, like to get what you want with a shape and so on and so forth. Now here maybe we can just go and But you can see now we are getting the shape, and it looks decent. It looks decent and it is controllable. Let's try to add a skin shader here. Okay. And maybe edit current object shader settings. And maybe I'll just do like this cavity intensity to lower it down a bit, because I don't like it that much. Okay, do we have like bulge color? Well, we are not bulge intensity. Okay, so something like this. So that looks like a bit of a more like a skin. Okay, and now I'm just going to kind of maybe go for a build up, like to have like a bit these to be kind of emphasized. Okay. And now, I mean, sorry, get a control. Oh, maybe I'll press it. Okay, cool. And maybe, I don't know, I can kind of just do a flatten here, but it not that matter in this at this stage. Let's go with the build here. Just kind of make it like so, and then with the pinch. Okay. So whatever, maybe it's not quite a good thing. But now, sorry, now you can see here that you can actually just make it from here, make it quite nice. Either control and then smooth, or even maybe like so. I kind of fucked it up here, but whatever. Now, but you are getting like, I guess you're getting the thing, and that this tutorial will be kind of, apart from being like very long and very boring, might be maybe useful for you. So now let us kind of try to render this to see how it looks. So then you can actually really kind of go and, I guess, block your character pretty fast, and actually play around with them. Okay. Okay, so this concludes this tutorial, and on the next tutorial will be most likely kind of try to deal with the retopology of the characters, some advanced things like sculpting in layers, and kind of see how we can get like maybe a full character topology, retopo, sorry. And of course, after that, we'll kind of deal with a texturing and we'll try to cover pretty much most of the important things that there are in a code. So hope you kind of learn something useful and that you're going to create like awesome characters. So thanks for watching and see you in the next tutorial. Take care.